Fijians are a nation and ethnic group native to Fiji, who speak Fijian and share a common history and culture. Fijians, or Aitoke, are the major indigenous people of the Fiji Islands, and live in an area informally called Melanesia. Indigenous Fijians are believed to have arrived in Fiji from western Melanesia approximately 3,500 years ago, though the exact origins of the Fijian people are unknown. Later they would move onward to other surrounding islands, including Rotum, as well as blending with other settlers on Tonga and Samoa. They are indigenous to all parts of Fiji except the island of Rotum. The original settlers are now called Lapita people, after a distinctive pottery produced locally. Lapita pottery was found in the area from 800 BCE onward. As of 2005, indigenous Fijians constituted slightly more than half of the total Fijian population. Indigenous Fijians are predominantly of Melanesian extraction, with some Polynesian admixture. Australia has the largest Fijian expatriate population, according to the Ministry of Pacific Island Affairs, while Fijians were also the fifth largest Pacific ethnic group living in New Zealand, a decrease of 8% between 1996 and 2001. In 2001, the estimated Pacific Islander population size is 231,800 Fijians, comprising about 7,000 of that. Outside Oceania, a substantial Fijian diaspora is found in other Anglophone countries, namely Canada, United States and the United Kingdom. The Boslavu Wakaturga once passed laws and regulations governing the indigenous Fijian people, until its disbanding by the military of Fiji following the 2006 coup. The Great Council of Chiefs met yearly to discuss native Fijian concerns. The council, which was formally responsible for appointing Fiji's president, was composed of 55 Fijian chiefs selected from the 14 provinces. Included in the council were 3 appointees from the island of Rotum and 6 appointed by the Minister of Fijian Affairs. The Minister of Fijian Affairs consulted with the President as part of the selection process. Former Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka was given a lifetime appointment on the council. The native Fijian language belongs to the Central Pacific branch of the Austronesian family. The Fijian traditions are centered around ceremonies and events that bond the community. Yakuna, otherwise known as kava, another important traditional custom, is an infusion prepared from the root of Piper methysticum, a type of pepper plant. The plant itself is also often referred to as yakuna or the kava plant. Yakuna is extremely important in indigenous Fijian culture. In the time of the old religion, it was used ceremonially by chiefs and priests only. Today, yakuna is part of daily life, both in villages and in urban areas and across all classes and walks of life. Single quote. Having a grog or drinking grog, as drinking kava is sometimes known, is used for welcoming and bonding with visitors, for storytelling sessions or merely for passing time. The tabua is a much revered whale's tooth which is used in both public and private occasions or ceremonies. The tooth is considered sacred. About 86% of the land in Fiji is owned by indigenous Fijian people. In 1876, Sir Arthur Hamilton Gordon, the British colonial governor, prohibited the sale of Fijian land to non-ethnic Fijians. This policy continues today. The governor also banned the employment of native Fijians as laborers, and in 1878, began importing indentured laborers from India to work in the sugarcane fields. The effects of this immigration created an ethnic polarization and rampant anti-Indian sentiment, which has proven to be politically challenging to Fijian race relations. Indigenous Fijians overwhelmingly report as being Christian, with the Methodist Church of Fiji and Rotum claiming the loyalty of 66.6% and the Seventh-day Adventists. About 8% belong to other churches from a large number of denominations. Only about 0.8% report as following non-Christian religions or no religion. Approximately 70% of indigenous Fijians are farmers, many of which are sustenance farmers. They commonly grow such crops as sugarcane, cassava, rice, sweet potatoes, and bananas. Historically, Fijians were known as the canoe building experts of the Pacific. using them to trade with Tonga. They were usually large double-hulled canoes, called a drua, with each side being similar except one was shorter and served as a type of outrigger. These were united by beams, with a platform on it that extended beyond the sides. The Lapita people, named after their distinctive pottery style, were the first people to inhabit Fiji in about 3000 BCE. And evidence of their settlements exists throughout Fiji, particularly around the Sigatoka sand dunes. They were followed by the Melanesians in about 500 BCE. And relatively recent trading with the Polynesian Tongans has added to the cultural mix. In the Lau group of islands, aspects of both cultures still intermingle. There was active